All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm gonna do three for sure. Maybe I'll do four on this one, but I want to look at NIO, DGLY, LYT, and then maybe SMCI. All right, I got to put a post it in front of me because these are definitely not normal tickers I look at. And I think a little bit of the reason for that is just look, we're still in a really odd market condition, right? I don't know if you saw my live video, but I thought we were going to have a way better Monday than we did. We clearly did not have the Monday I expected. There was a nice little mid-afternoon, early afternoon, depending where you live, right? But there was a little recovery today on some news, and I'll talk about that. But yeah, the market condition is still a little odd, and it makes me have to look at different charts. All right, NIO, I hope you see it before I talk about it. This thing's trying to get over all the moving averages, right? This is not right. The earnings was not today. It looks like it's actually next Friday, so earnings did not happen just yet. But that's a good candle. That's some volume, and again, we're testing the moving averages, right? When we look at the next one, DGLY, look, I think this kind of chart is going to be a theme in bad markets. Look, when I'm seeing a chart like this, most of the time, most of my videos, I would say, I'm not really liking this thing, right? We're living under the lines and this and that, right? But it's trying, right? And again, the best thing you can really do is look at things that are trying, and hopefully it hits, and hopefully your eyes are there, right? But you just gotta keep in mind the market conditions, right? But that's an interesting doji. I like interesting dojis, right? I'm talking about this candle right here. We've seen one before, and it definitely did not do that well. But hey, maybe it's a different condition. There's some clear differences I see already, right? But it's again, it looks interesting enough, and in tough markets, interesting, silly little charts are sometimes the ones that do well, right? Next one is LYT. This is the other one I want to look at. Again, you can kind of see the theme between that one and this one, right? Again, this is normally not one that I would like, but hey, clearly there's been some volume pops. There was a lot of movement today. You can see the peak of the day, the top of that wick right there was 32 cents, right? I care about the close more than that, but if the interest was there, the question's basically going to be, is it going to come back tomorrow or not, right? And again, we've seen pump and dump. We have definitely pumped today. I don't know if it's going to dump or go, but again, if you're looking, hopefully it hits. Otherwise, another one in the tough market moments, right? And then SMCI, this one has a little bit more technical things going on. Look, you hear me say it all the time, right? It's difficult to break multiple lines up. It should be difficult to lose multiple lines down, right? So you can see there's two moving averages doing their job, trying not to make it lose the last one. That's not a bad setup right there. And there's some interesting channels right there that this thing might be able to get up, right? So I'm hoping to cover all four of these, like I said. We'll see where time permits. I think before I get into the deeper thoughts, let's just quickly look at the market before I change it. So today was a wild day, and I think this almost picturesque doji really magnifies it. This morning, the market looked really good. The morning made it seem like, okay, I was wrong about Monday. Maybe Tuesday was the day that we start to recover. All of a sudden, a little bit past maybe the first or second hour, I mean, we just tank, and I think it's real easy to see it on that hourly chart, right? We nicely go, we quickly tank, and then towards the end of the day, we get a real big pop. And we were talking about on the Discord, like, was it a dead cat bounce? Was it this or that? I can't find it. Dun 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 dun. You would think I would practice some stuff before we talked, right? This was it. Sorry, duh. Where is it? Nope. This was the news. I have no idea. This was the news. This was the news. I apologize. So it looks like there's a potential truce going to be had. Look, one thing I've been talking about, and you can see that kind of marries with the time. That was around 12 o'clock my time, right? So that's around 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock Eastern, right? So that pretty much marries with that candle almost exactly, right? I've been talking about it just being twofold uncertainty, right? There's an economic uncertainty with all these tariff and the retaliations, and then there's just some global chaos uncertainty, right? I'm by no means saying that this little truce, and I'm calling it a little truce almost intentionally, we don't know if it's going to be a big one, a little one, a drop in the bucket, or the one that saves it, right? So let's see what it does, but that at least calmed the market momentarily. And again, big single candle, but then quickly not enough to get over the moving averages and actually kind of rejects a lot harder than I even actually expected right after that. You know what I mean? So that's what the NASDAQ looks like. Again, we're actually under the 200 pretty well, but bad look. Lose it, no confirmation, all those are dojis, right? That's a bad candle, that's a doji. I realize this entire time we've basically been under it, we still haven't really confirmed the 200 MA loss right there yet. S&P 500, kind of the same thing. Not as picturesque a doji, but you can see it. Again, this was the first bad candle under the 200. That's a doji still in my book, so I wouldn't even call that confirmation right there. And then lastly, the DJ30. Dow Jones is now catching up and basically down here too, right? So, excuse me, a little hiccup there. Yeah, I think that just again echoes what I was saying on all of this, right? When the markets are tough, silly tickers can do well. I would easily say two of these four are very silly, especially looking at those charts, right? So before we do go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. I don't remember the last time I looked at NIO. Look at that. It's up there and down here. I will probably draw some fresh lines. I'll draw some horizontal support and resistance lines manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel. Share this video online with your friends. Comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms. But for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I'm so thankful for it, all right? So let's take a look at NIO. And look, there's some interesting things going on with this chart right now, all right? First thing, I'm going to call it out one more time just in case you fast forwarded to this. This is not correct. There were no earnings today. It looks like earnings are going to be next Friday, the 21st. So just keep that in mind, right? But that's actually a really good trading window between now and then, right? So if we're actually able to break all and fly, I mean, there's some good money to be, or there's some good movement that could happen if that happens, right? Before that earnings fear that I always highlight, right? But let me just zoom out so we can see it, right? And I think this is a good view. So a couple things that I'm immediately seeing, right? We've tried to break that 200 for a long time right there, almost that entire month of September, right? When we get over it, there's very little confirmation. It's actually the exact same thing I was saying with the NASDAQ and S&P, just the other way around, right? I get that those are all a bunch of good candles over the lines, but there is no, like, this green one is not good. This green one opens up here at 7 something and closes all the way. That's a good candle, but that one's not, and that one's not, right? So no confirmation up, it quickly comes down and right back under, right? So it's really been struggling with that 200 moving average since September of 2024, right? Even a little bit after that pop and drop, we try. Like there's been a lot of trying actually right when we lost it. You can say from like mid to late November until basically right now, right? So there's a lot going on with that 200 MA, right? I think it's interesting to see that this volume has just actually been pretty stable. And I said it on the live, right? A lot of traders are getting really annoyed and really tired with the US unstableness, and they're actually moving overseas with their trading, right? Not physically, but they're putting their money in more foreign companies and more foreign tickers. And NIO fits that boat. And there was, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a pause on the auto tariffs, right? So all of a sudden, while everyone's worried about these like 25%, 50% tariff talks, auto is okay. Again, let me know if that's wrong, but that's at least the last I heard, right? The last kind of cool thing, I'm not gonna say the last cool thing, but I just actually noticed this right now. That's a really nice volume right there. It looks a little more pump and dumpy, but I think now that I zoomed out and actually like kind of see that, there is a relatively stableness to that sporadic popping in volume, if that really makes sense right there, right? But ultimately the test is now, right? And I probably zoomed in too much and I apologize, but we'll at least talk about these. MACD looks good, RSI looks good, MACD is positive, RSI is a healthy 60, volume is the highest it's been in quite a while. This is a good candle over the fifth one, over all 5. Like this is the moment where we decide if we fly or not, right? I'm going to adjust the lines, I think. I'm going to come to here. I like this. I went with the top of this one. That's really what I looked at, but I'm basically seeing that's 50% of that candle. Um, Let me see if there's another line I can draw on your 50%. Oh, that's basically where we're at. Look at that. That's almost to the penny, which is 2 cents higher than that, right? And I don't even know if that's a perfect 50% right there. Let me do one more thing. Let's see if we can find. I like that point. So that's the top of that right there. That's also the top of that right there. I think that's going to be the money line. And then from there, I'm going to move this to here. I like that. So look, I think if this can get over, let's just basically call it 530. If this can get into 530, I can see it going up into that $6 range. And I mean, you can see what happens at $6, right? There is a hard red, 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 and so much nothing, nothing before a green, green, red, red. I mean, that actually could very, very nicely go to look. That's actually a really good click. That was basically the bottom of that. That could go almost to there, right? So look, an alert is not an immediate buy notification, but I really wouldn't mind knowing 531. That's not too bad right there. Let's set that thing. Again, not an immediate buy notification. It's definitely a come check it out. But yeah, let's come check that out if it happens. And again, I think if people are excited about this Ukraine Russia truce, I think if maybe we can get some more headlines or thoughts before market opens tomorrow, or maybe even in those first couple hours, right? Like I think that could help this thing set up and confirm. Otherwise, we're going to do what we've been doing, which is basically struggling with the 200 moving average. And I would say don't lose five. All right, I'm basically clicking at 497 right now. I think if you come into that $5 range, it actually might be a pretty fast fall right back down to 475. All right, so hopefully we never go below five. Hopefully we actually, like I say, break 530 and go, right? But NIO is actually set up pretty nicely right here. Where are we on the weekly? That's not some bad lines right there. What is this line right here? 650. That's kind of almost in between those two numbers right there. So I don't think I need to draw that. I don't think I want to lower any of them. The only one I don't want to raise this. I think that's going to be too high. I like my lines. I think we'll keep the lines and then just keep that 650 in your back pocket, right? If we break six, don't automatically assume 650. Or sorry, don't automatically assume 713 because we just saw that 650 right around the middle right there. That's right where I'm clicking, right? That might be a little hesitation. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I think I'm going to chapter these next two the same. So we're going to take a look at DGLY as well as Y. Oh my gosh, I can't read my writing. LYT? Is that what it is? Yes, that is what it is. My goodness, chicken scratch. So I'm chaptering these things for a clear reason, but I think there's a little bit of difference between the two, and I'll obviously highlight both sides. All right, so clearly both are under most of the moving averages. Actually, as of yesterday, this one was under all five. I think as of yesterday, maybe the day before, yeah, even as of yesterday, this was under all five. Right, so if you watch my videos before, if this is the first time you're watching them, look, I like being over moving averages, not under, let alone under all of them. You know what I mean? So I always say bad things happen under the 8 and the 20. I think you can see exactly that on this chart. And I have to zoom all the way back to the last time we were in a good place with those lines, right? So I see nothing but bad under the 8 and the 20 here. I see nothing but bad under the 8 and the 20 here. All right. The highlight of these two stocks really is a common theme. All right, it's actually two common themes. The first one is when markets are bad, good tickers are going to do bad as well, but maybe some bad ones will do okay. Silly things happen to silly tickers. All right, the second thing really is volume is king. All right, volume is queen for the ladies watching this thing, right? And when Monday, look at the box over there, when the volume was less than 500,000, and this morning, by the end of the day, we're at 135 million. I can't even think of the X. So I have to 2X that to take that to 1 million. And then I have to 135X to make it this. So roughly speaking, it's a 270X jump from yesterday's volume. All right, we actually saw an even bigger jump than that not that long ago, basically in the middle of last month, right? So this thing knows how to pump. This thing knows how to pump. It also, we've seen the dump, right? And again, I'll come back to the details. With DGLY, volume is a little bit of a different story. Clearly, today was a lot bigger than yesterday. And actually, that 77 million made this one of the highest traded stocks today. Okay, so there was a big jump, but hey, when you're going from like 20 to 70, you're 3xing, right? Like 3.5ing, less than 4x, right? So that's a lot more easy to swallow than almost 300x, right? So there isn't the craziness of the volume pump, but there's big volume. This is easily the biggest volume over the last 2 weeks since this 24th, right? This is easily over that 50-day volume, right? Like this is good volume to me, right? It's not as big as these ones, but hey, what I like is this thing has pumped, but it never really crazy dumped. It definitely went down. It definitely, wasn't able to go back higher than it was, right? It's not like it did better things with volume. But when I look at DGLY and I look at LYT, my writing is horrible. It is two different stories down here. Again, this actually has almost double the volume of Digital Alley. Is that what it's called? DGLY? I have no idea. Nonetheless, right? Keep that in mind as you're looking at these. So the story is the exact same on both. Oh, two hiccups. Excuse me. Sorry about that. What we really got to do, and I'm going to go back to this one. I want to start with this one. We got to get over the 20 moving average. All right. And as I look, we've been here before. We've been over the 20 and almost at the 50. We've been over the 20. We've actually lived basically on the 20. We've made tests. That was the best one since. Dang, I didn't even know. I expected another better test. So the last decent test to the 20, basically a little bit better than this one, you can say, because that looks a little closer and that's a better candle, was once in this beginning of the year, the second trading day of the year, right? Yeah, the second trading day of the year was the closest we've been to that since this, right? I think this doji makes it a little interesting, and I think there's very, very different technicals than this day, right? Volume is nowhere near as impressive, right? Yeah, the RSI is low, but that's not a good low in a lot of ways. This is a little bit better, and I think that MACD has been a little bit better than it was setting up right here. Like we've been green over red for a while till we got to this point, and they have that little same divergence going on, right? So I think the technicals are a little better, but hey, nonetheless, the story is it ain't easy to get over the 20 moving average, right? If it was, it would have happened here, 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 it would have happened a bunch of times before we're trying now. So don't expect it to happen. But if this can get into the 10-cent range, 10 cents is going to get you nicely over that. It's going to get you nicely into that. 11 cents might even be worth the wait because sometimes filling that gap is a lot harder than it looks like it should be. But yeah, I think somewhere around 10, 11. Oh man, from there we're talking about a 50 moving average that's all the way at 26, right? So there's a couple different ways to play it, but I think you got to see what 10, 11 cents kind of looks like, right? This system doesn't have more decimals out there, so make sure you can see more than just two decimals, right? Like this is paper, this is there's no money in this account, right? I'm just using it for the technicals, but that's what I'd be looking for here. And again, the exact same thoughts with this one, right? We saw the fake out, but we also saw what could happen if we get over it and start going, right? So the potential's there. The hard thing is it's really difficult for me to pick one of these like red candles and say, let's break that one and go, or like let's break that one and go, right? Let me come to the weekly. Oh, I can barely use the weekly too. I would wait for 21 cents. Where does 21 look on our oh that's here. Yeah. I would not enter this any sooner than 21 cents. Truth be told, I would wait for 23 cents on LYT. And again, some people might say, why would you wait from 18 to 23? There's a lot of profit right there if we go from down there to there. For sure. The problem is if you go from down there to there and keep going, you might get faked out. And instead of selling where you should, you're going to watch it come down, right? I would rather see it get here, believe that we're going to keep going, et cetera, right? So that's what I'd be looking for. And hey, if we fail, we're going to go right back below the 8 and continue to live down there. If we fail on this one, we're going to go right back under the 8 and we're going to continue to live down there, right? So, yeah. I don't know if there was real news on either of them. I actually did not look at my phone for that. They just, the chart and the volume has really caught me on these two. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I'll give the end a little bit of love. Let's take a look at SMCI. So, man, this thing obviously has a pretty crazy story, right? It was doing all right, I would say. It had some real bad auditing things. All of a sudden, it makes a nice little recovery. There was some interesting delisting things and all that sort of stuff, right? But where are we now? I feel like at this point, the technicals have really kind of taken over here, right? I obviously have a line here, but I'm going to delete this line. We have three moving averages that are basically right there. You know what I mean? So I think at this point, we'll just kind of look at the moving averages right now. So I said it in the opening thoughts. I'll say it again just in case you fast forwarded here. Look, it is really, really difficult to break two lines up. The same happens on the way down. It is really, really hard, especially these three. When they're together, that wall up and that floor down are just very, very thick. And yeah, we look like, oops, oh, I have no idea where that line was. I'll delete it. It happens. I'm sure if it was important, I'll draw it again. I like when you look at that, it looks like it should have just kind of kept going down and worse, right? But instead, it was at least able to hold because really these three individually are very strong. They're that much stronger when you have more on them, right? So we were able to get a nice little bounce today, and really, it's not like this was just some. Oh, it was. Oh, get out of here. I remember seeing this little morning pop actually. I think okay, what caught me was when I look at the Nasdaq, it was around that exact time on the 15-minute that we start to go up. What's cool is Nasdaq goes down, but SMCI doesn't. It actually continues to hold and keeps going up on that exact same 15-minute view, right? So this thing actually does get some NASDAQ love, and then what seems like a little bit more in that last hour, as opposed to the NASDAQ falling in the last hour, right? So I actually like that. I think that shows a little extra strength on top of the index. Look, it's not much, and I don't care much about after hours, but it's nice to see it going up just a little bit. And hey, it's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? But right now, what are we looking for? We're looking to believe that we're going to come to 45, right? If you can get over the 8, you should go to the 20. We've used the moving averages to get over. The thing is, we just broke two moving averages, right? So I really, really need us to get, I think at least that. I would be really okay with 43.30 tomorrow and then that 45 the day after. And hey, who knows? There's also a really nice little channel right there. If we can get over 45, there's a lot of green, 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 red, 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 green, green, red, red. We can make a nice little pop to what basically is 50, right? If you're looking in the box, it's $50.60. So going from 40 to 50 is a beautiful 25% move, right? And even that 40 to 45 is a little bit more than 10%. So I think SMCI is definitely well worth eyes right now. What's that volume? Yeah, I would love to get into that like 125, 130 million shares, right? It would be more than today. It would put us into that average that we were having in that middle February like weeks. And that's really when most of it was churning, right? So I think this is well worth eyes, and I think the technicals are doing well. And again, I think to me, what I more than anything like is I think it's a little more stable. We went from the silliness of the news and the earnings and the delistings and this and that. It's now kind of seemingly falling into a nice little technical groove. And as a TA trader who likes moving averages, that's a good thing for someone like me, right? Where are we on the weekly? I like the weekly as well because really I'm seeing those exact same channels that we were talking about. Numbers aren't exactly perfect, but hey, this one's saying 46 and a little bit higher than 50. So I'll use those dailies as my expectation. If we can get a little bit more, that's just beautiful, right? So cool. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.